Notes I had for that game. So like always, whenever I play a game, I'll just take some notes down about like certain situations I'm uncertain about or I want to go and review afterwards. And after the game, I'll step through and look through them all. And unlike the game, I'm actually not on a delay this time, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat, and I will answer them as soon as I look over in that direction. Alright. Yeah, this is a sad game. It's just like, ooh, I really want to win a hand. So the first one is like, okay, there's a con on the field, one person in reach, non-dealer, that's worth. Explosions. Alright, let's see, Ordas, let's try this. Oh, double reach. That's okay, I'll get Tempai somehow. Oh, look, Tempai! Oh. Yeah, that was an unfortunate game. Alright. First question, East 2-0, 8-mon Pon. Alright, so right here, dealer's in reach. We're technically 2 Shanten right now with our hands, which isn't that great, but I guess we could potentially get to a fighting hand if we draw some very specific tiles. Like, 2-mon is safe still, so that means we can get into 1 Shanten pretty safely. Especially if we draw like a 3-pin, that'd be great. And then if we draw, let's say, a 7, an 8, or another like 7, or actually, yeah, just a 7 or 8, basically, we could technically fight the dealer with Riichi, Pinfu Dora, or Riichi Tanyao Dora, which would technically be enough, but considering the time that we'll actually get into Tempai for that, we probably won't be able to actually fight them. So we have an alternative move right here, which is we can pawn the 8-mon, and then potentially knock out dealer's reach. So if we pawn this and we drop, let's say, the 2-mon, which is safe to the dealer, then we got 2 shapes left that we need to complete. And one of them is the safe tile for the dealer, which is the 8. So this person is kind of likely to drop it if they're defending. And then we'd be in Tempai on the 3, 6, 9. But 9 already has 2 out, so not that bad right there. So, question is, should I take this pawn? So, the reason why we pawned the 8-mon here is not because we think that we have enough value to fight the dealer. And if we like draw anything dangerous, let's say if we draw like, I don't know, a random like 5 Sozu or a random like 5 Manzu, actually 5 Manzu isn't that bad, like 5 Pinzu, we wouldn't drop that to the dealer. We would just fold the rest of our hand. Basically, this is a route that we can take where it's like, okay, we can take this, and if we're lucky, we can get something that can shut down the dealer reach. And if we're unlucky, then we just fold. Because even if we do call this and throw out that, we have relatively safe tiles for the dealer. This is like 100% safe with the tiles that we can see. 7 is also pretty safe considering the tiles that we can see. And so we have like 3 tiles right there, and then that gives us, what is that, 3 more rounds of tiles, which is basically another like 12 tiles to potentially defend with. And so, yeah, it's not that bad. So it's like, this is almost like folding, except it's just like a, how do you say, folding with a chance of, you know, potentially getting rid of the dealer's reach. Which is nice, because it's like, well, it's pretty unlikely we're going to be able to fight this hand anyway. Even if we ignore this, there's currently only 1 7 and 1 8 out. And so the only way that we can probably get into a Tempai that's worth fighting the dealer is if we need a good weight, and we would need something that's at least worth, with Riichi, 5,000 points plus. And we have to do it in a timely manner before it gets too late, because at that point there's no, you know, the later you push a Riichi especially, the less returns that you get from it. And so that's why if you are pushing a Riichi ever, earlier in the game is a lot better than later in the game. So yeah, we're basically folding this hand. But yeah, so considering that, it's like, take this, and now we're one tile away, or one call away, from potentially destroying the dealer's reach. And if things go bad, for instance, hey look, a 4-pin, I can't drop that, you just fold the hands. So 9 and 7 are both really safe right here. The 9 is safe because it's Suji, and all 3 of them are out, so they can't be waiting on this aside from Kokushi. The 7 is also really safe because the only shapes that they can wait on 7 on are the 6-8 shape, the 8-9 shape, and the 7 Tanki and Shabo. But we can see all the 9s. We can see 3 of the 8s, and then they dropped a 7 right here and a 4 early on. So that's pretty unlikely as well. And then we can see 3 of the 7s, so Tanki is pretty unlikely considering what they dropped as well. So this is really safe. And so we basically have a couple more safe tiles right here. So we just go with the flow, and then by this point we have some other tiles that we can throw with. Pawning 1 or 2 Dora? I mean, the Dora is the 3-pin, and the only other Dora that we can technically take in this hand is like the red 5-so, but that's already out. Well, and even if we do have 1 or 2 Dora, like, how do you determine, am I able to fight a reach? Like, a reach is a big black box, right? We don't know how many points it's worth. That's why usually we can use some nice statistics just to figure out, based off the number of Dora tile that I can't see at this point, and based off if the person in reach is the dealer or someone else, on average, how much is their hand worth? For this question, generally speaking, a dealer reach you can treat as not being worth 9,000 points. So, if you want to fight a 9,000 point hand and still end up like EV positive compared to like if you could just fold, how much do you need? Let's see. Well, like I said, like this isn't fighting a reach. There's a very big difference between fighting a reach and like disarming or mawashing around it. So fighting a reach, for instance, let's say in this hand right here. So currently we're in Tenpai for Richi with Richi with Ipeiko. Plus we have 1 Dora. So at least 5,200 points. Including Ipatsu chance, Ura chance, and then Sumo chance. Plus our weight is not that bad. It has 3 tiles remaining from what we can see on the field, and a lot of the 3 pins, 3 of them we can see right here. So 2 is looking pretty good. But someone else is in reach right here. They're non-dealer and they have a con. Even though the 4 is really unsafe right here, that's still okay because EV-wise, like, if we had the option between folding our hand here and pushing our hand here will give us higher return than actually folding our hand here. Mainly because we have a hand that is worth that return, right? Yeah, so so what is the safety in this hand right here? So usually, even in like a regular case where it's like someone reaches early and you don't have that many Dora, and like just considering like the safety of like the tiles, you're considering, well, depending on how many safe tiles do I have, when should I like fold versus when should I consider like pushing some because I don't have any safe tiles. Usually the answer is about 2. If you have at least 2 safe tiles, then that's pretty good to fold. Mainly because against a Richi, you don't actually need as many safe tiles as you would consider. Which is why if you look at a lot of like the like top players nowadays, especially like you can look you can look at the players that are going to be playing in the M League this coming week. But a lot of them don't hold safe tiles from the very beginning. They don't expect to fold from the very beginning with most hands. The reason why is because even if it's little, they want to increase the chance that they're going to be winning their hand. The second reason is because you don't need that many tiles to fold. So if a person reaches and we only have like 2 safe tiles, it's like, oh no, we're only safe for 2 more turns. But what happens in those 2 turns? We get an extra drop from 3 other people, and we get another draw. So it's basically like 4 extra chances to, like, you know, get some new safety out of it. Even if we can assume that the 2 people that are not in Reachy are folding, then that's still, like, you know, a good 2 tiles right there. Plus, even if they're even if these 2 people are folding, we still get some information out from that. For instance, if the dealer reaches, and then, like, this person throws a 6, and this person throws a 6, and this person throws a 6. Now, even though we don't have any new safe tiles, we have a wall of 6, which means the 7s, the 8s, and the 9s, or the 7s and the 8s are a lot more safe at this point. So, even with, like, the amount of tiles that we have right now, which is, like, here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like, 6 safe tiles right here, basically. And technically, yeah, like, we don't need all of those. Ideally, even if you do open up your hands or something, as long as you have 2 safe tiles, that's usually, like, the limit of, like, you will barely ever dealing with here. If anything, the risk that you gain from calling this tile and dealing in, because you're going to run out of safe tiles, is worth the chance to, you know, get, like, the 8th so-call, or even get, like, a 3-pin or a 6-pin and disarm this. Even if you draw anything else, you can still defend. And so it's, like, not that much risk for a pretty good return, which is basically stop the dealer. Because if the dealer continues their hand, you're going to be losing on average, like, if they win, like, you know, 3,000 points. Even if they don't win, you're going to go to Yukoku, and you're going to be at least paying 1,000 or maybe even 1,500. And so completely folding is not the same as, like, you know, oh, I'm getting some, I'm just, like, not losing any points, because you are going to be losing points. The question is how much. Well, if we pick up the 9-pin, that's okay, because, like I said, our point with calling this is not to win the hand no matter what. It's to give ourselves a chance to potentially maybe win the hand and stop the dealer reach. We don't have enough worth here no matter what to fight a dealer. So if we do draw a dangerous tile, we'll just fold. But if before then, if we're able to, like, get the, you know, the safe 8 so that comes out and call Chi and get into Tempai on the 3-6, that's great. Even if we draw the 9 afterwards, whatever, we'll just drop it. It's a safe tile. We don't have to win this hand. We just want to give ourselves a chance to win it. Of course, we don't want to basically stick our neck out too far in the process of doing so. Whoa, thanks for the follows. Oh, the first one was Tubi earlier, and this one is Greylaw. Thanks. Yeah, stuff like this is kind of what makes Ho-Oh scary. Because if you're in, like, the lower rooms, like in Tenhou, which is, like, Tokujo and Jokyu, you know, people don't know, like, the value of Richi. Like, they might go against the dealer Richi, and they have, like, Tanyao, and they're just throwing dangerous tile after dangerous tile. In Ho-Oh, though, like, you know, everyone already knows, basically, like, the EV values of how much of a hand do I need to have in order to push this hand and still end up positive, like, you know, in the long run. And then they also know, like, well, if I can't do that, what are, like, the alternatives I can do? How can I potentially disarm this without risking anything myself? And so that is basically kind of what this case is right here. Alright. Next up, East 2-1, 7th turn. Oh, yeah, this one's kind of interesting. So this is another case of, hey, look, dealer's opening up, and they might potentially be scary. Actually, let's turn on this real quick, make it a little bit clearer. they might potentially be scary going for like Toi Toi, potentially even technically Honitsu. They dropped a couple of Dora, so decent chance they're Tenpai, potentially at most 1 Shanten. And what are we doing with this hand right here? We called this early on, and we're keeping this around. And the reason why we didn't call this earlier is kind of the same reason that I mentioned in last hand, where it's you have 2 types of hands in Mahjong usually. You have ones that basically are worth their weight in value that you can use to fight. It's like a shobu hand, a fighting hand. And those are the ones that, you know, it's like your Richi Pin Fudora, your open, like, you know, Yakuhai Dora 3 kind of sort of thing. And then you have hands that are basically there to disarm other hands, which are called kawashite, or just kind of like wash-away hands. So the important thing about like the wash-away hands is you can't stick your head out too far. If I like call like 3 times for Yakuhai only, or even just like 2 Yakuhai, like 2,000 points, and someone reaches, my 2,000 point hand is not enough to justify fighting a Richi in most cases. Even if I do fight it, I'm going to be losing more points than I'm gaining in the long run. So what do you do instead? Basically, you can just adhere to some rules so that if you do open up with like a cheap wash-away hand, you can basically make yourself safe in the case that someone does end up fighting later on, but still, you know, keeping yourself in contention to actually complete that hand. So one of the things is a honor tile pair. So honor tile pairs, whenever you have the rest of your hand completed right here, are really good. Because even if I complete the rest of this hand and someone reaches, like, these are like A-class safe tiles right here. Like, we're talking about 2% and less like deal-in percentages here. Usually, like in this case, the only way they can possibly wait on this is for Kokushi, or with a Hellweight, or well, Kokushi's dead, so only with a Hellweight Tanki of the East. So not bad. So right here, the question is, what do we throw? So we got technically our pair 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. So we got too many blocks right here because we only need 3 since we have 1 open right now. And then we also have a Dora right here. But dealer's looking really suspicious. They've thrown a Dora, red Dora, and 1 pin. If they're in Tenpai right now, that wouldn't be that surprising. If I had to guess, though, they're probably 1 Shanten. Mainly because they dropped a 4 and a 5 Sozu from their hand. So what does that mean? Usually it would look like let's say they draw a tile, and let's say they had originally the 4 and the 5 in their hand, and now they have a chance to switch over to, let's say, a Pinzu Honitsu. So they're losing 1 Han to gain 2. So they start off and they throw out the first tile. They keep the door around just in case, and then they draw another tile, and now they throw out the Dora. What is the tile that they drew? Usually, it can be a couple of things. It could be a tile that advances their hand, or it could be just a safe tile that's better to keep than like a floating Dora tile that is really hard to use in your hand right now. Usually the case is going to be the safe tile, because as your hand gets closer and closer to Tenpai, the amount of tiles that you get that you can just draw and immediately just jump into Tenpai are a lot fewer. But that doesn't mean it's always going to be the case. Though a lot of the cases, yeah, they'll still be in 1 Shanten after dropping a Tatsu like this, or even like, let's say, a pair and switching over to something in their hand. Our hand is kind of similar to that, so like even if we drop, let's say, I don't know, like the 9, the 8, so, and next turn we drop the 9, that doesn't mean our hand is like, you know, ready for Tenpai. We just kind of like dropped extra tiles that we couldn't use. So the question here is, do I want to slim down these hands, one of these groups, or do I want to drop the Dora at this point before it gets too dangerous? And I think I should probably just stick with dropping off one of the Tatsus. I don't want to drop Pinzu because that looks really dangerous for dealer. 8 and 9 Sozu aren't that much better since they could also be going for Toy Toy. And then the 6 and 8 Mon, I guess aren't bad, especially since they threw out the red 5 and the 8 Mon right there. Plus, if I do get the Dora, like as a pair or something, I can just switch it over from this pair. So that's not that bad either. Oh. So I guess considering danger from the dealer, especially if they have like Toy Toy Tenpai, which would probably be around like 7,700 points, I should probably continue and drop the 6-8 right here. Red 5 is out of the way anyway, so I can't get any value from that. And I don't want to drop Pinzus against that as either, because it could technically also be Honitsu. So yeah, I guess that's okay. And then I still want to hold on to Dora. Like, regardless, even at this point, Dora is a pretty dangerous tile, and it's also a useful tile. Yeah. I don't think we can throw... Yeah, 2 Mon Dora is a little bit much. What did I drop here in the game? Okay, the 8-9 so. Yeah, I still kind of like this one better. I don't know the state of their hand, but if they are going for Toy Toy, then these are a lot more lucrative than these, especially with the tiles they discarded. And considering they had a Yaku already, like what was the need to throw the Dora here? So, let's actually check. What were they doing with their hand? Because I had no clue. Okay, so it was Toy Toy Tenpai right here. Waiting on the 7 Sozu and the 6 Pinzu. Yeah, scary, scary. So see, they drew this, and then they immediately... Oh, they pawned right there and immediately got it. Okay. Yeah, I like 6 and 8 better. Alright. Next up. South. Is that south or is that east? It should be east. East 2-0, second turn. Or 3-0. Oh, yeah, this shape is cool. So, second turn, no Dora. Probably going for Pinfu. We can maybe even upgrade to, like, I don't know, Tanyao here, maybe? So what should we drop? Right now we got, like, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 blocks. The 1, 2, 2, 3, 4 shape is actually really good. If we get a 3, we're instant Tenpai for Pinfu on the 5-8. But if we get, like, a 2, a 1, a 4, or technically even a 5, we can confirm this as a double-sided weight, and then switch this over for our pair over here. So this is like a really good shape for improving this hand, because with any of those tiles, then we already have another double-sided weight here ready to go. And then keeping around the 7 right here is good, because if we do get the 3 so draw, we instantly get into Tenpai, we can drop the 6. So what should we drop here? Should we drop the floating 5, or should we drop something else? Yeah. So I kind of want to throw this hand into a Tori Mahjong Simulator, because this is a hand that we can't open, or we're not going to open, I mean, and we probably can't open it either. And so Hitori Mahjong Simulator, which is single-player Mahjong Simulator, is really good for hands like this, because unfortunately the simulator can't figure out like the utility of like, you know, certain shapes for like calling and other stuff. But if it's just for like, oh, I'm going to be drawing these all myself anyway, what's the best route I should take to get the most points considering the current turn order? It's pretty good. So let's open that up real quick. And I'll put in some information. So we're on the second turn. Door indicator is the Hatsu. And in our hands, what are the shapes that we got? Let's see, got a 6 right there. 5, 9. And a lot of Sozu. Alright. That's cheating. No. This is not cheating. This is great. Mainly because, like, this a lot of the times the question isn't like just based, like, you know, ukeire, which is not that bad, but not that great either, because it doesn't consider a lot of stuff. For instance, like, once you actually get to Tenpai, like, how's your weight going to be there? Also, once you get to Tenpai, or how is the value going to be? Considering this drop, what are the other improvements that you have within this same Shanten that could potentially upgrade your hand, etc., etc. So Hitori Mahjong Simulator is really good for stuff like that. Okay, so put that in, run it, and check that out. Wait. Alright, so what do we get? Ippoteki 5. Not quite. So for the 5, it's showing that it has about not as high as win rate as the Tuso drop, actually. That's interesting. But it's showing that the 5 has less Kitaichi than that. So what we gain from the 5 is we can basically draw a 4 or a 6 and instantly get like a double-sided weight right there, confirm our pair with the 7 Pinzu, and then now we got one of our other shapes. So in order to do that, we have like 8 available tiles, right? But what do we gain from keeping the 2 and the 3, or the 1 and the 2 so instead? Basically, we gain 3 so, because we get instant Tenpai right now for Pinfu. We gain 2 so, we gain 1 so, we gain 4 so, and then also for 5 so, we would just ignore the immediate Tenpai on the 3 so, and then drop the 7, and then we're waiting on basically 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8 to get our pair right here. So, yeah. All those tiles basically beat out the small tiles that we get from the 5 itself. Oh, and then also we would get the 5 itself. So yeah, this is pretty cool shape. Alright. Next up, South 2-1, 5th turn, 7th turn, and 10th turn Riichi. Fifth turn, right here. Yeah. So we're technically a couple Shanten from 7 pairs. But do we take it? So not including 7 pairs, we're with this 3 draw, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, also 2 Shanten for regular hands. Now the question is here, what do we drop? 9 pins the Dora, which makes this question pretty interesting, because now we got like a Dora right here, which would be great for Chitoitsu if we do get it. And we do have, you know, not that great of shapes, and also 4 pairs. We could drop the lone 6 Sozu, but we lose the chance of going for a pretty strong regular hand with that, because if we do keep that around, we can take in like the red 5, the regular 5, or the 7, which instantly gives us a good double-sided weight right there. Pretty easy transfer over to Tanyao, Dora, potentially even Pinfu. We could technically drop the 7 Monzu, and that kind of leaves both avenues open. Kinda. Because like the 5-6, or I'm sorry, the 5-7 is something that we kind of want to get rid of anyway. If not with a lucky like 7 draw or 6 draw, then at least like maybe a 4. But if we get like the 4, then we also are 1 away from Chitoitsu at that point. So yeah, what do we drop here? All things considered, probably the Dora. Or I kind of like it. Even if we do end up with Chitoitsu here, we already have Riichi Chitoitsu, like Dora 1 right there, 6,900 points. If we do keep the Dora around though, and then we end up getting Chitoitsu, then that immediately goes up to Riichi Dora 3 Chitoitsu, or with Sumo it goes up to a Mangon, so that's not bad. I'm sorry, Hanemon. But what's the likelihood of us getting into Tenpai with 7 pairs as opposed to just a regular hand? For a regular hand, we can take in a good amount of tiles right now. Or can we? So we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks technically with the North Wind, but that doesn't help us out much. No North Wind are out right now. 3, 5 pin, 4 pin has 3 out right there. 7 pin is still available. And then we can't see any of the 6mon either. Yeah, I don't know. Another option is we could potentially like throw the door right now, and then if our Hatsu only person currently right here decides to call upon of the Dora, then at that point we can just kind of run away. But it's South 2 and we kind of need some points right now, so what's the best option right here? Kind of eyeing the 6-0. Kazi says pay. If you draw into the Dora, you can use that as your head. If your hand advances, you throw the Dora and use the second pay as a safe tile. I guess that's not bad. The 6-0 is also a really strong tile here. The only sad part is you lose the 7 pairs potential, which would be a very, very nice hand because that could immediately raise you up into first place right here. Especially since we're in last place in South 2. It's like, ooh, a big hand that saves us from eternal death and suffering. Yeah, this is kind of a point where it's like, 4 heads, or 4 pairs is the point where you have to kind of decide. Are you keeping around the 7 pairs potential, or are you just going to, you know, commit to going for a regular hand here? And if we do go for a regular hand here, it's not super bad, but it's not super great either. Not to mention, like, even if we do go for an open or regular hand here, most probably we're going down the Tanyao, maybe like Pin Fudora route, which means 9 pin is pretty much going to be gone unless we get a pair of it. Even if we get like an 8, that's not that great. Consider we have the 6 and we have Tanyao as well, so Tanyao would overtake the Dora. So actually considering that, and that we have 1 Dora right now, maybe we should actually throw the Dora here. You really thought I'd throw the 6-0 here? 6-0 is, what's it called? Not that bad. It's just that Chitoitsu is not ideal. And we have a potential chance to not get Chitoitsu. And if we don't go for Chitoitsu, the 6 is really, really, really good here. Because we can take in, technically, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, or an 8 Sozu. And then it can instantly use that, and we'll have another block on our hands. Yeah, I was thinking, realistically, we'd probably go for Kuitan as well if we do do this. So yeah, what I'm thinking right now is, I kind of like the 9 pin, because even if we do draw a 9 pin like pair after dropping this, like Chitoitsu is going to be too far away at that point. And then even if we do want to keep this, we have to go and you know, complete the rest of our hand. But with the 9 pin Dora pair, we won't be able to open up this hand, so it's going to be pretty slow right there. not to mention, like, we have some other pairs that we'd have to kill off as well. So, I kind of like 9-pin Dora drop here. The reason why is because we keep alive the potential of going for something that isn't Chitoitsu here, but we technically also keep alive Chitoitsu. And if we do get Chitoitsu, it's not that bad. Richi, we have a red Dora already, and Chitoitsu is 6,900 points. With Sumo, it's a Mangon, or with Ura, it goes up to a 12,000 point hands, even as a Ron, so it's not that bad. Yeah, I kind of like 9-pin Dora drop. In the actual game, what did I drop? Like the 7? Or did I end up dropping the Dora here? I did drop the Dora, okay. Yeah, so this is kind of like not the best of both worlds, but it's like both worlds are still technically around. But yeah, most likely this, rather than Chitoitsu, this hand is looking for like the Tenhou. It could technically even turn into San Shoku Pinfu Dora. I mean, we're not that crazily far off. Like 1, 2, 3 draws. Okay, that is kind of bad, but not super bad. All right, next up, 7th turn. So we drew a 6. Right here. So this is an interesting one as well. It's like, well, now we have like 6s. You know, five pairs. 1 Shanten from Chitoitsu. So at this point, it's like, well, okay, I guess we'll take the 1 Shanten for Chitoitsu. Which, if we throw the 7, we technically still keep alive the potential of even switching over to other stuff later on. And so, yeah. 7's pretty nice here. Then we get this draw. This horrible, horrible, beautiful draw. What do we do? So we're still 1 Shanten from 7 pairs. But now if we throw the 5 Manzu, we're 1 Shanten from a regular hand. And we can take in the 4, the 3, the 5, the 7, the 6. Yeah, we can take in a lot of stuff here. Well, it all depends on what we drop, actually. We can also drop the pay pair here, or the north pair, and then move over to like open Tenhou for a 2,000 point hand, which isn't that bad, but not that good either, considering the point situation. Ideally, we'd want to go for like Mangon Sumu here, which is also possible if we like stay close to this hand and Richi Dora 1. Then with Sumo, with Ipatsu or Ura, like 33% chance right there. Yeah, goes up pretty nice. So, yeah, what do we do? We could also technically move over to like Sanonko as well. So what are like the viable options we actually have here? We can drop 5 Mon. We can drop... Technically 5 pin. Technically 6 pin. Technically drop this back down. And then we can also drop the pay here. So if we drop pay, that's good in the case that, oh look, we can get Tenhou, and then we could potentially even upgrade that hand even further with some lucky draws. And we can also open it up for a quick 2,000 point hand depending on the situation. Especially since like this person's open right here, and they got some interesting draws. So they might be close to Tenpai, if not in there already. The 5 Mon draw is kind of interesting, because that leaves alive the potential for a couple things. If we drop this, then we can technically get Tenpai on the 3, the 4, the 5, the 7, and the pay. Currently, we don't see any north out right now, so that's pretty good. So if we do draw this, we can either take Tenpai on the 5-3 with potential Sananko. We could drop the 5 and take the 4-7 Tenpai. If we draw the 5, we can drop the 6. Technically, I have Motohikake Suji trap right here and on the pay with the pay. And this would be really good for a reach, and so that's not bad either. With the 6 pin draw, we technically keep alive Chitoitsu with a 3 and a 4 draw. If we draw 5, we can like switch over to maybe even like, you know, Toy, Dora, maybe Sananko, maybe Suanko. If we draw like the 3 right there, we get a nice instant Tenpai, 5 nice instant Tenpai, North, not bad, but Suanko or Sananko with Sumo. Too many choices. So what do we do here actually? See, for me, I like to go for the low-hanging fruits, and so it's like, yeah, drop the 5 Mon, because, boom, Riichi with 1 Dora, that's good enough for me. As long as I get Sumo and 1 Uradora, that's good enough for me. Plus, any weight that we get with the 5 Mon, we're pretty happy with, right? So even if we draw a 3, we can get a double-side weight right here, or throw this and be waiting on the North and the 5. If we draw a 4, we can drop the 3 and be waiting on the 4 and the 7. Or we can drop the 5 and be waiting on the 3 and the North. If we draw this, we'll be waiting on the North and the 3. If we draw the 7, we can also be waiting on North and 3. So, like, all of the weights that we end up right there are pretty good for Riichi. Which is great, because we have 1 Dora. And we need points. Another option is dropping the 6-pin, where technically the only thing we really lose there is the 6-pin itself and 7-pin. Because at that point, if we draw the 3 or the 5 or the North, we still get Tenpai. If we draw the 3 Mon or 4 Mon, we get Tenpai. And if we draw the 4 Pinzu, we technically get Tenpai for Ipeiko, but the weight's really bad because there's only 3 tiles in total remaining. What does 5-block theory say? 5-block theory says go with your heart. 5-block theory, I guess, would be 5-pin here. Almost. So, like, yeah, almost. Well, see, this one's a little bit weird. So, normally, whenever you have, like, 3 pairs around, it's usually not that great because you can, you're only really efficient with 2 pairs. But because we have 3, like, dropping one of our pairs right now wouldn't hurt us at all. In fact, it would help us. So the 5-pin would be really good. And then if we get anything around the 5-so, we can immediately throw this out and upgrade to Tenhou as well. So that's, like, a really good option. Actually, that's not that bad. But, one thing we can consider here as well is technically we do have the option for Sananko with the pairs that we have, which isn't usually always a great thing to go for, but considering the point situation that we have, it's not that bad. Or at least, it's an option that I would like to flirt with. Not to mention, this hand is also a 1 Shansen from Chitoitsu as well, which doesn't necessarily fit into the standard 5-block theory, because 7 pairs doesn't have 5 blocks, it has 7 pairs. Yeah. The 5-pin drop is kind of interesting, though. Since, especially with the upgrades from the Sozu, or Manzu. But at this point, because we've dropped 7 Mon, that makes it a little bit more difficult right there. Which is why I would originally lean towards 5 Mon over 5-pin. Kazi would play 6-pin and go Yaku fishing with Ipeiko or Sanshoku, or Sananko. If the Ura flip is pretty rare, eh? I guess Chitoi is also Yaku flipping, or fishing. Yeah, my only beef with 6-pin is that if we do get 4-pin, that's kind of really sad, because there's like 1 out here already, we have 1 right here, there's only 2 tiles remaining for a weight, and Pinzu doesn't look like, well, actually no tile looks like anything from these 2, so they could have whatever. Yeah, Yaku fishing isn't bad though. Especially, like, there's still the technically far-off chance of Suanko. but Sasuke ni sore wa, yeah, too far. To go Yaku fishing, or to go for I want Richi with 1 Dora and potential Ura fishing. Dealer is also in 3rd place, which is good for us. They have 9,000 points right now. And so even just like Richi Tsumo Dora covers a 6,000 point difference between us and them, plus 1 Honba, so that's another 400. So that puts us within 2,600 points of them if we do get that, which is really good. Not to mention, I guess the biggest thing that affects my decision here is this person. Because they got some crazy discards going on. They called early. They could be going for like a big hands, but they just dropped a 5-6 Sotatsu. That doesn't look like they're going for Honitsu. So we can probably assume that they're in 1 Shanten, at most probably. They could be in Tenpai, but if I had to guess, they're probably in 1 Shanten. Which would be kind of bad, because that means that their hand would be pretty quick, and they could win before we go fishing. Because even if we do go fishing for, like, Sanonko or Chitoitsu, both of those take a while to get. We could get lucky and get them next turn, of course, but generally speaking, they both take a while to get. You think 4-pin is most likely live, actually? How much you want to bet on that? I don't know. 4-pin's kind of a mystery. Like, we can see 2 of the 3s and 2 of the 5s right now, which is really good. But that doesn't necessarily say much about the 4-pin. On average at this point, there should be, like, what is it? At least another one in one person's hand or the dead ball. So even if you do consider, like, the other 2 potential in the wall, it's like we still need to draw one of those. And then we also need another one to win on. So 7 pairs is kind of really harsh right here. So the 6-pin kind of hurts, because if I had a choice between taking, like, the 3 in the east, I'm sorry, the 3 in the north Richi, I would do that any day over the 4-pin Ipeiko here. We have a friend, Shimocha. He'll drop the 4-pin because it's a Nakasuji. Where's the Nakasuji? I haven't even drawn a 7 yet. Also, like, consider what I'm going to have to drop even before I do that. If I drop a 6-pin, why do they need to drop Nakasuji? They're going to have regular tiles. They got the 7, they got the 6. They're going to have the 5, or whatever I drop. Yeah, they're going to, if I do get the 4-pin, I'm going to drop the 5. They have a lot more tiles that are safer than a Nakasuji 4-pin. Yeah. The 7 pair does look pretty good. They're Ho-Oh, they're pushers. He'll drop the 4-pin, especially if it becomes Nakasuji. Ideally. Yeah, it's kind of hard. The Sanonko Allure and the Chitoitsu Allure isn't that bad, though. Like, if I do drop 6, I lose 7. And I lose 7, which is like 4 tiles, but I gain like the 6 tiles for Chitoitsu with the 3-mon and the 4-mon, so that's not all that bad. If I didn't have a 7-mon in my discard, I'd probably drop the 5-pin here, because like that's a pretty good improvement right here. Especially since I got a pair right here, Ryamen right here, and then like that's good Kutsuki. I can get rid of the pay, and I also keep my 1 Shanten. But considering that it is out, yeah, probably 5-mon here, or well, actually, yeah. I guess we would choose 6 pin here, just because like if we had the other choice, which is like 5 mon, like we gain 7, but we still have 4. Even though we do have a little bit better weight for that, considering we have the 3 pin and the east, it's not like, you know, super better, because at least the 4 pin with the 3355 has Ipeco. Plus, if we drop the 6, we're gaining the 3-4 for instant Chitoitsu Tenpai, so I guess we should go with the 6 probably. And also chances, technically, for Sananko and Suanko. If you drop the 5 mon, you're 1 Shanten, right? Yeah. Like, 5 mon is 1 Shanten. I mean, technically, the 5 pin is 1 Shanten, the 6 pin is 1 Shanten. Any of those will give us 1 Shanten. So yeah, I guess the 6 pin is a little bit better. Like, plus another thing that is a deterrent against the 7 pin is that it's right next to the Dora, and so even if it was like a lone tile in someone's hand, they might be keeping that over other tiles that they've already dropped because it's near the Dora, and so yeah, I guess 6 pin right here is not that bad. All the choices. Okay, next question. 10th turn. I think right here I dropped the 5. What'd I do? No, I did drop the 6 pin. Okay. Got a 1, don't need that. And a Richi! Alright, now we're in Tenpai against a Richi. They have dropped one of our West Wind, sadly, though. So this Tenpai right here is on 3 tiles with Richi Dora. Do we fight the dealer? I mean, if we get a Tsumo, it technically goes up to a, what is that? Sananko, so it's not super bad. So what do you do here? Yeah. So, usually in this situation, pay, yeah, that's my go-to. So, if I don't have a good chance against the dealer with my value, especially with just this, which is, I mean, technically Richi only, it's not that great. If there was 2 north-south, it wouldn't be that bad, but it'd still be kind of iffy. Plus, we have a alternative, which is we can drop the pay right here, potentially even move over to get, like, you know, Sananko, Tanyao. We have a lot of choices. For instance, we draw the 4, we can instantly fight him with Reach. If we draw the 5, we can instantly fight him with Reach. If we draw the 2, we'll question it and answer that question in a review. Which is what we did. Alright, so... yeah, now... Yeah, we have Last Oya as a fallback. I don't know about that fallback, Causley. I heard whenever you're Last Oya, someone will just double Richi. So now we got to Tenpai on Tanyao, Dora with Richi. For at the very least 5,200 points. If we get Tsumo, we can get Richi, Tsumo, Tanyao, Dora, Sananko for a 12,000 point hand. Do we take this one? Normally no. Like if this is East 1 and the situation's flat, probably not. But in this case right here, where we're in last place in South 2, and the person in 3rd place is in Richi, and if they win, well, we're going to be very sad because if they get a big Tsumo, we're basically 16,000 points behind 3rd place now. Reaching right here is not that bad of an idea, I think. Because dealer winning is exceedingly bad for us. And we actually have a hand that we can technically basically almost fight them with. And if we do get a Tsumo, that immediately raises us up to 1st place. Plus it has the benefit of if we do draw a 6 Sozu or a 3 Pinzu, we don't have to drop it, we can con it. What do you think about the Shimocha 8 pin drop? Isn't he pushing? They're probably in Tenpai with, like, I don't know, Kata 10 or something. Like, I don't know what they're in Tenpai with. They're probably in Tenpai, though, considering that, or they had, like, 0... Well, actually, they might not be pushing. They might not be pushing. If only considering the discard pile, it might be like a, like, you know, situationally forced push. Because if you look at the number of safe tiles that you have for the dealer, they're pretty much all dead except 7-pin and 2 Monzu. And if they don't have 7-pin or 2 Monzu, which we have like one of the 2 Monzu right here, you know, they don't have anything to fold with. There's no Nakasuji, there's no other Sujis, like, they have nothing. Considering that, if they did have a Tenpai, even if it's only, like, Hatsu only, they might be willing to push, you know, an 8-pin, slightly dangerous tile right there to keep it. But either way, I don't think that relying on South right here is that good. 9-pin came out and there's no pawn. They could technically have, like, an Anko of it, but it's kind of unlikely. We have one of the red door right here, so how much is their hand worth? Even if they do clash and the dealer Rons them, like, how much is that going to help us? At most, it'll probably be just about the dealer, it'll probably just be about the amount that the dealer is right now anyway. Whereas, if the dealer Tsumos, which is a more likely situation, especially if they do get a safe tile and then they decide to fold, or as more information occurs going around, then they'll have, you know, more chances to fold tiles from their hand. Dealer Tsumo, if everyone folds right here, is not unlikely. It's pretty expected. And dealer Tsumo right here is probably the second worst option that can possibly happen to us. The first, of course, being if we deal into the dealer. But even in that situation, like, if we have something worth fighting for, it might not be that bad. Because if we fold here, chances of us getting last are pretty high. If we fight here and we win, we're really good. If we fight here and we deal in, chances of us getting fourth are pretty high. But we still have a dealership, so it's not crazy, I guess. Yeah, considering that we do have a hand that can actually, like, get us out of last place right now, I think we should probably take it. Because even if, like, you know, we let them fight and, like if dealer Tsumo is really sad, even if West wins a 1,000 point hand, we still need, you know, basically kind of like a Mongon in order to get out of last. And with only, like, 2 rounds left, not taking this hand right now, which is a Hanemon Tsumo at least, seems pretty bad. It's like, normally you wouldn't want to fight the dealer with this, but considering the point situation and we're in South 2, plus I technically have a fallback of being the last dealer, I kind of like Ricci here. I would stay Dama and just believe in my friends. You want to believe in your friends? Let's check out your friends, Kazi. Friendo, number 1. Waiting on the 3, the 6, and the 9 for 3,900 points. Versus Friendo number 2 with Ricci Pinfu. And you folded a Hanemon hand for that? What are you doing? I kind of don't agree with that as much. Well, okay, so here's the thing about Dama, though. If we Dama, what's going to change? This person's not going to fold because they're in reach. This person is probably not going to fold over here. They might fold to us, but if that's the case, they'll deal into dealer, so they'll probably be continuing their hand anyway. And this person's already folding to people, and they're not going to drop the 5s anyway. So what are we actually losing for Dama here? Or, I mean, what do we actually lose for Ricci here? I mean, if we do Ricci, we don't have the chance to fold, but are we going to fold anyway with a hand that can get us out of last place? Furthermore, if we do Ricci and we Tsumo, that immediately doesn't only get us out of last place, it puts us into first place, which is really good. Because even if we do get out of last place right here with a Mongon Tsumo, we're going to be the last, we're going to be the Oras dealer. AKA, we're going to be in the worst position to avoid a 4th place as a 3rd place going into Oras like that. Like, that's not a situation we want to be in. We want to give ourselves some leeway or die trying, kind of sort of thing. Yeah, plus if people are pushing right here, like, Dama or not, like, our weight's not going to get better. I mean, technically, if they drop an 8-mon, we could Dama and get that, but then we would Ron, and it's like, Ron, 2,600 points? We're not that happy. I mean, it's better than nothing, but in comparison to an instant sumo that gets us at least 12,000 points, I don't know about that. The return here seems really nice, and if we're going to be pushing the dealer anyway, we want to up the value that we'll get from this hand as much as possible. And especially if there is 2 people in the cat race right now, if our Ricci does bump out one of them, then that would be pretty good for us. And if they don't, if they just keep pushing, that's also good for us because we can just run them if they drop a winning tile. Oh yeah, 3,900 points. There's the 4-mon draw, and we have the 2-mon as a safe tile that we can Mawashi. Yeah, but that's like saying, I'm going to stay Dama to wait for 3 tiles, so then I could get a better weight, instead of just reaching right now, waiting on 4 tiles, where if I Tsumo, it will give me first place immediately. And if I don't take it, then I'll just be up to 3rd place, which isn't super bad. It's kind of great. But in both situations, you're pushing, like, the dealer. Like, we don't only gain, Ricci is worth 1.5 Han for a reason here. Like, not reaching right now is basically we're losing every single good drop that the dealer gives us. Or at least we're not losing it. We're losing a lot of the value that we would be getting from it otherwise. Especially if we're in a last place situation right here. I think not taking the chance that the dealer gave us right here is pretty bad. Even with, like, Ron against the dealer, like, Ipatsu and Ura-chance aren't nothing either. Yeah, I can't see that many big merits over, like, for Dama. I mean, like, if our winning tiles were something that are likely to come out to the dealer Ricci, yeah, we can argue for that. But, you know, 5-pin and 5-mon? That's highly unlikely. Guess they'll call you the coward 7-don. I mean, Ray is called, like, the coward 10-don, and, like, I like, how much you want to bet the Ray would reach his hand? I would say rather than a coward, that's just, like, I don't know, 7-don that is content with staying in 4th? But yeah, I don't see any merits on the Dama. Like, it's not going to increase the amount that 5-mon and 5-pin come out. Wait. But it doesn't matter because someone's going to Tsumo! Or just Ron. Yep. This one was also pretty interesting right here. It's like, well, I got Tune, I have to push my hand forward. I didn't call it the first time because I had, Maybe I should have called it right here, actually. It at least gets me within direct range of escaping into 4th, but considering I'm going to be last place dealer, it's kind of hard. But yeah, I should probably take it right there. Drop the 9-pin. And then this was kind of interesting right there. Drop the 8-pin, right? Oh yeah, the 8-pin. Not the 9-pin. Which is what I ended up doing anyway when I got the 5 draw up right there. This is another question I had. So right here, should I drop the tune? Or should I drop the 8-pin? There's only one tune left right here, so I was thinking that might be kind of bad. 4-7 pin, we can see 2 right there, 1 in our hands, so there's still 5 for this shape remaining. But the tune is nice because we can instantly call it. But I was thinking probably I should have actually dropped the tune here. The men's in hand is preferred anyway. Plus, like, considering that there's only one of these left, like, yeah, we can get it if it comes, but if it doesn't come, we're very sad. Yeah, and even if we do drop this and we get to Tenpai first on the 5-6 mon and we reach on the Dora and the Chun, I mean, this is Ho-Oh, and they might push, but against last place in South 3, most likely they're not going to throw the Chun, even if it is, like, 1 out. So I think probably going for the wider weight here and relying on Sumo instead is better. Yeah. Yeah. I can also Kuikai on the 6-pin. Hey! That is true. Call the 5-7 pin and then drop the 6-pin. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Wait, how would you do that actually? Yeah, how do we Kuikai on this 9-pin? Or on the 6-pin, like... Oh, I guess if we got into Tenpai first, then we could do it. But I mean, if we get into Tenpai, we're probably gonna reach anyway. Oh, drop the second tune. Okay, I see. And then yeah, at this point it's like, okay, I have to like hit Tenpai or something no matter what. And it's like east 1 cut, kind of dangerous, but go Chijoitsu. This one was also kind of interesting hand. So Toyman was going for an open quick hand or something for what it seems. I can't see the door. Well, I can see one of the door right now. But I get to technically 1 Shanten here, except it's not a good 1 Shanten. The 8s are dead. The 1s have 1 left, and so like I can't use both of these basically unless I rely on the hell weight of this, but that's not that great. Yeah. In retrospect, though, instead of dropping the 9-pin, I should have dropped the 1 mon here. Because if I drop the 9-pin, you know, I can drop the 7-pin and then like, or I can potentially like draw a 6-pin and stretch it out that way. But if I drop the 1 mon here and I draw a 7-pin and later on I draw a 9, I can lock in that shape as like a potentially Peiko or even with the 6 drop, and then like if I do end up with like the Dora, I could use that as my like Tonki weight or something if I'm not wanting to drop it at that point. So I think 1 mon is actually better there. Yeah. And then the situation in Oras was pretty fun. What do you do against a double Riichi? Well, if you're in South 4 in your dealer and you're last place, and this person is less than a Mongon, even if they deal into a Mongon, they won't get last place. You push! Yep. So, that was that game. Some interesting areas right there. Alright. That's all the notes I got for this game, so I'm going to be jumping into the next one. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in 5 minutes.